This woman's living a double life. In the day, she's Shin Ha-ri, an employee at a Korean foods company. At night, she's Shin Ge-mi, a woman in a contract relationship with her boss. Worst of all, they both begin to like each other after spending time together in the fake relationship. Can Hari keep her two identities separate? Welcome back to 10-minute recaps. Today, we'll be watching episode 4 of Business Proposal. At the end of the last episode, we saw Hari come face to face with her boss Tae-moo at work. Luckily for Hari, Tae-moo continues to be clinically blind and still doesn't recognise her with a black eye. That day, there's an internal food testing fair, and the ravioli that Min-woo created is extremely popular, winning over even the picky Tae-moo. Hari goes to analyse the results of Min-woo, managing to stay professional throughout. After the concert last episode, Hari has started walking out of a decade-long obsession with Min-woo. Ironically, Min-woo seems a little crestfallen that Hari is no longer as infatuated with him. Some people just want to have their cake and eat it too. While they're halfway through dinner, Tae-moo suddenly arrives. After the ravioli in the day, he wants to try some more of Min-woo's cooking. His arrival sends Hari scurrying for cover, and a confused Min-woo calls her to check where she is. Tae-moo is a little surprised Hari's ringtone is a song from the niche band he watched with Ge-mi, but he doesn't think too much of it. Hari hastily makes up an excuse to Min-woo and leaves. He's puzzled by the massive shift in personality she's had in the last few weeks, but manages to shrug it off and starts talking to Tae-moo. They get to talking about love. Tae-moo is incredibly curious how Min-woo and Hari managed to stay just friends after so long, which Min-woo doesn't really know how to respond to. Of course he knows Hari doesn't want to just be friends, but Min-woo wants his ex more. At this point, they're on completely different wavelengths. Min-woo thinks Tae-moo is talking about the rumours that Hari has a crush on him, while Tae-moo is talking about his contract girlfriend Ge-mi. He saw how sad she was at the concert after having a one-way crush for years, but has no idea that her crush is sitting right in front of him. Meanwhile, after once again escaping from Tae-moo by the skin of her teeth, Hari is eating with Yong-seol to complain about the stress of leading a double life. Yong-seol tells Hari about Sung-hoon being her neighbour and can't help but moan about how he doesn't want to talk to her because she scanned the annoying Tae-moo. At this point, Hari has begun to warm up to Tae-moo and chips in to defend him. As any good friend does, Yong-seol immediately smells something strange and starts questioning her on whether she's moved to dating hopes from Min-woo to Tae-moo. When Yong-seol gets home, she bumps into Sung-hoon while waiting for the lift. At this point, Yong-seol has largely given up on getting with Sung-hoon, but when Sung-hoon treats her like a straight-up pariah and takes the stairs instead of ignoring her in the lift, Yong-seol explodes and chases after him to tell him off for being so rude. In response, Sung-hoon simply lifts up a bag. He was taking out the trash and didn't want to stink up the lift. I can feel Yong-seol cringing all the way from here. We then see why Sung-hoon cares so much about Yong-seol lying to Tae-moo. It turns out that he's an orphan, and Tae-moo's family took him in and raised him as their own, helping shape him into what he is today. The next day, we see Yong-seol meeting a new neighbour. The postman delivered one of Yong-seol's letters to him by mistake, so he comes up to her to give it back and introduce himself. Unlike Sung-hoon, this guy's clearly interested in her and starts flirting immediately. Later, they meet each other again in the gym. The guy offers to spot her and flirts with her the whole time. He starts to shift some of Yong-seol's attention onto him. But something strange happens in the changing room after the workout. Sung-hoon sees that the guy has perfect eyesight even though he wears glasses. When he gives Yong-seo a lamp and recommends that she puts it in her bedroom, we can't help but feel like maybe something nefarious is going on here. The next day, Grandad comes across a calendar notification for Taemu's fake anniversary date with Gurmi. When he finds out Taemu is planning to work that day, he insists that Taemu takes the day off and spends it with Gurmi. For once, the work-obsessed Taemu doesn't protest. The best day of Hari's life is coming thanks to Grandad, but she repays him in the worst way possible. Hari and her team go on a team-building field trip. It just so happens that Grandad is passing by and he decides to check in on his company's employees. Once again, Hari is caught between her two lives. She goes to hide in the bathroom, hoping that she won't be seen by Grandad. But of course, Grandad suddenly needs to answer the call of nature and starts banging on the door. Hari tries to ignore him, but when Grandad gets increasingly irate, she shoves the door open and runs away, pushing Grandad straight into a massive bucket of water, soaking him. He ends up having to stay in the hospital to get a checkup. The whole time he's there, he's complaining about the weird employee Shin Hari who pushed him and freaks out every time he sees her, while praising Shin Gurmi for her openness and tolerance of Taemu's faults. When he hears that Gurmi's got a black eye, he's more concerned about her than his own injury and sends Taemu to deliver medicine to her. Hari's taken off her Gurmi disguise at this point and ends up meeting Taemu wrapped from head to toe in a cute costume, completely conquering Taemu's heart. Soon, it's time for the anniversary date, and Hari gets to experience the unimaginable life of the 1%. They first go to shop in expensive boutiques, where Hari gets a beautiful dress that costs a fortune, before going to eat in a Michelin-starred restaurant close to everyone except her and Taemu. Unluckily for Hari, she rips the back of the dress in front of the waiters, but the gentlemanly Taemu discreetly hides it for her, just like a real boyfriend would. They thoroughly enjoy the night in each other's company, and both seem to forget that their relationship is fake. They even get to see a beautiful fireworks show that underscores their blooming romance. After Taemu drops Hari at home, he realizes that she dropped her wallet on his car and drives back to give it to her. But he sees Hari without her Gurmi disguise coming out of the restaurant and finally connects the dots. He can't believe it, but when he opens up the wallet to check, it's not Gurmi's ID, but Hari's. When he calls Gurmi, he's shocked to see that Hari picks up. His worst suspicions are confirmed. Shin Gurmi, the woman he's fallen in love with, was created by Shin Hari. So, after 4 episodes, the lie is finally exposed. What's going to happen next? Can Taemu find it himself to forgive this second lie, or will they separate? If you want to find out, don't forget to like and subscribe.